de nuestro país. Vengan, escuchen todas las historias, historias de amor, love, aventuras, adventures, and all the bad things and good things that happen to the people of our place. All right. Well, good afternoon to everybody. And to all you mothers that came today to share some of your stories with us, thank you so much. We appreciate this. And the whole point of this show, Voces de Nuestro País, is to talk about our area and the people and their lives, because we're losing so many so fast. This last couple of years, it's like boom, boom, everybody's hasta la bye-bye, you know, so. And we decided we need to do something to help out, just to keep our history alive for a long time. Because like Arsenio Cordova from Taos said, when you die 3 times. You die when you pass away. You die when they bury you or you burn you. And then the worst one, when they forget you. So we don't want you guys to be forgotten. So here we are. And we're going to start with the Queen herself. Christine saved my butt a long time ago. Before, because I had an accident in a truck, and I told my dad I fell asleep, which I did, and he could not figure it out why or what. 3 or 4 days later, she did the same thing. And then he said, okay, I guess it happens. So she did. So Christine Martinez. So if you don't mind, talk about 5 minutes of who you, what, and where.
Okay. I don't know if I can do it that short. Okay. I'm Christine G. Martinez, and I'm married to Andy Martinez. I grew up as a young child in Colorado, in Antonito, San Antonio really, and played a lot with the lambs over there of my grandfather and my grandmother. They moved eventually to Taos, and we were very happy to be in New Mexico. It's very nice here in New Mexico, and everybody's very friendly. It's not so in Colorado, I don't think. They're a little colder there. I had 5 children. The oldest one is Monica. I think everybody knows Monica. And then there's Orlando. He's the only boy, and he's in Michigan. And he's also got my 2 grandchildren from Sarah with him, so he's busy with 3 kids. And then there's Irene. She started really pretty quickly because Monica never had children, and you know, I was waiting for babies. Anyway, now you know, I have Irene's 3 children around here, and it's wonderful to see them. Of course, Beth left for a while. We miss her a lot. And Anna has 1 little boy that is in Wyoming. So those are my grandchildren. I don't have any that are old enough to really do the grandchildren to really give me children yet. So I'm waiting. They're always making me wait. I like seeing the children a lot. You know, we're Catholics and we're very busy at church all the time. And I love it here. You know, I'm so glad that we came to Cuesta. That's been quite a while ago, but I think it's a wonderful place. People are wonderful and people are very kind here. And I think that is wonderful for everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, one thing that her and her husband owned the laundromat for many years. That was up down here below on the way to Taos, so you forgot to tell them that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think my life was mostly as a nurse.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
see, there
I
we
was
go.
a registered nurse. I was in Taos for a long time. I actually worked in in Colorado to start with. But, you know, the thing is that was what my life was going to be about. Andy and I were dating when we were in high school, and he wanted to get married. I said, no way. I have to go be a nurse, and you're going to have to wait. That comes first. So that's basically, you know, what I was about.
Well, at least he waited.
He waited.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So to me, that was more important. But
where did you do your nursing, Kristie?
well, I started in Denver at the Children's Hospital there, and then I moved back to Albuquerque. I worked there for a while at Presbyterian Hospital. And then when we moved here, well, of course, I was at Holy Cross driving over there. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's move over to Evie over here. This is that guy with that one. Better half.
My name is Evie Trujillo. I'm from Rancho House, married to Vito Trujillo Jr. We have 2 children. Vito the third, he's 23, going to be 24 this year, and our daughter Kyra, who's 20. And we are blessed with our first grandson, Leandro, from our daughter Kyra. I have been working with children for many years. I started working with kids when I was 20. Till this day, I still work with kids, and I work with preschoolers. I'm a teacher at Los Angelitos. I work with 2 and 3-year-olds, and I'm also a dispatcher for Kit Carson Electric, and I've been with them for 14 years. And family, my kids, and my grandson are my everything. So, all in a nutshell. Also, Victor and I, my husband Vito, we've been married for 24 years and together for 26.
Did he have to wait for you?
He was very persistent. That he was. Very persistent.
So you were born in Taos?
I was born in Taos, 1980. I'm 45 years old. I've been with Vito since I was 19. So I've been a Trujillo longer than I was Rivera.
Yeah.
So I told him, I sent him a meme one day, and I told him, you know, I've been with you longer than I was with my parents, so if you don't like my attitude, you should have raised me better.
What did he say?
He laughed, of course.
That's great.
So your son, what is he doing?
So our son is also a preschool teacher. He works at the same school I do, Los Angelitos, and he works with 3.5 to 5-year-olds. He's also plays music like his father and his grandfather. He loves his music. That's what he does on his downtime. And yeah, before that he worked at Sid's food market for about 8 years, since he was 16 years old. Yeah.
Cool. Anything else you want to? Any
was
lies about him?
What was the most difficult part of being a parent?
Of being a parent,
A mother.
teenage years are the worst. Yeah, I can't say. Not so much for our son because he was always working, but yeah, she gave us a run for our money, for sure.
Yeah.
Being a parent, you know, but they're, you know, teenagers. They don't want to be home. Who wants to be with their parents? Now we're home, and she's like, Mom, we're going over. Mom, are you home? We're going over. Or if I'm not there, she goes and visits Dad, you know. And so it's once the growing up kicks in and the teenagers and thinking you know everything and wanting to do your own thing kicks in, it's everything, you know, it's amazing. But teenagers are definitely hard. Our son wasn't so bad. Like I say, he's my calm, she was my storm.
Can I ask her a question?
Sure.
What was her like being a daughter to her? Was she a good mom?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm actually very blessed that her and my dad are still together.
Was it hard to raise her?
I think it was the other way around. I can admit I was pretty bad.
So why don't you go ahead and start your story?
Okay. My name is Kyra Trujillo. I'm the daughter of Evie Trujillo and Victor Trujillo. I'm from Rochester, Taos, born and raised. I have a son who just turned 6 months on Thursday. My boyfriend's name is Roberto Molina. Currently, I'm not doing anything but staying home and being a mom. But I recently just enrolled into college to do early childhood development, just like my mom and brother. So I'm really hoping to do that. I love Taos, always have. But I do want to move someday.
We'll see.
I don't know what else to say.
Talk about being a mother a little bit.
What's it been like, going from not being a mom? You're probably in this room. We have another pretty new, but a couple times around.
Almost 6 months.
Yeah. But this is your first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So going from not having a kid to having a kid, that's a really big transition.
Yeah, it is. I think my teenage years were the hardest years of my life, and I think honestly becoming a mom saved me before anything. I don't know, I just feel like it's fun. Watching all the milestones and everything, like now he's starting to eat solid food and grab things and laugh, and just watching his face expressions, because he's such a people person like me, but I think he gets it from my dad. It's just, I could honestly say now I know what a parent's love is. It's unconditional, and now I understand why my parents always wanted me to do good with my life and grow up.
Have you apologized to your mom?
I definitely have.
Yes.
Yeah, now I could say that I understand it, and when I told her, when I first held my son, I told her I never knew this is what it's like, and that's when I told her I was sorry for everything I ever did, because a parent will have your back no matter what, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Okay. Getting emotional.
It's the postpartum thing that gets you.
Yeah.
Got it.
I don't know, it's just beautiful, and being able to connect with other moms is also beautiful. So.
Sweet. Sweet. Well, let's move on. Constance.
Yeah. What's the question?
What was it like raising this one?
Oh, yeah. I'm on board with these women that it really... Start right out here. Becoming a mom was one of the happiest days for me. Both the birth of both my children, and it changes you completely. You do think of the other first, and your world opens up, and you want the best for them, and you'll walk the long mile to make it happen. It's lots of fun. It's fascinating, like you said, to watch it all unfold, and then there sure are challenges, But I had a wonderful mentor in my own mother who wanted everyone to walk their own path. And so I kept that same focus with my children, that tuning into what is important to them, and that they have an individual destiny or way to go. And that was my job, to protect them, but to protect that part of helping them realize that. So that took a lot of different forms in our life. We had an alternative life in a lot of ways. Maybe some of you know, Tim and I have had a toy business for a long time. And so we would do craft shows and travel the country. And so we also homeschooled the kids for a lot of their school. And, you know, they had a lot of unusual opportunities that way. Different experiences, and we had a lot of nice family time too. So, and that's the other joy of my life is Tim. We've been married over 50 years. So,
Was it harder to raise him or him? I forgot to ask you, Evie.
very mutual. we really grew up together.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So, let's see. So, as far as specifics, we came here in 1974, bought land up here in 75, and started building a home, and have been here since then, and have gradually gotten to know the community and have been embraced, by the Cuesta community, and love living here. Like others have said, it's such a beautiful place, a warm place, and wouldn't have had it any other way. So,
What was your mom like?
my mom was someone who had grown up, well, she was born in 1913, and she grew up in the panhandle of Texas, and so she was part of a farming family. And I was thinking, she actually picked cotton and worked really hard. And so her goal, I think, was to get education in order to not have to do that all her life. So she went to college and was educated as a teacher, and then was able to, do that other than farm. And there's a whole long story with all that, but that was a big change for her. And her own father just had a third grade education. Her mother had a high school education, but then, she took another step that way. And education was very important in our family. So,
Did you two have a good relationship?
yeah, we did. Yeah.
You learned being a mom from her?
Yes, yeah. And she loved being a grandmother, and she was very supportive in all respects of wanting us, again, to do what was important to us and what our own, path was. So.
And she was your only parent.
Yeah, true. There are 4 of us in our family, and my dad died right after I was born. And so she really needed to lean on that her teaching, because she needed to raise 4 kids. So, and it was different then, in the 50s, to raise 4 children on your own was a different matter, It was not, in some ways it was frowned upon almost, was thought it would be better to find a husband and, make it work that way. But
She never got remarried?
she did 16 years later, after pretty much all of us were grown. So. That's probably enough for me.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to, as the mayor used to call her, Cynthia, but Cynthia Vigil. Please.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, and to be around so many great mothers is just empowering. But well, I was raised here. My dad was from here. My mom was from Colorado. She was from Saguache, Moffat, another very small area. And she came when they needed teachers here during the war, her and some friends. And then her story was she saw my dad's picture at my grandmother's house and fell in love with the picture. He was at the war, and they came back and they got married. And
That's the way to
yeah,
do it.
story. Yeah, and she that was her story. But my dad, my grandfather. We're third generation in a business. My grandfather ran a grocery store. My grandmother never worked at the grocery store. She was at the house, and she kept that, and she did all that. So, and then my folks took over, and now we've kind of took over. So the way I say it, we're store kids. We were brought up in a store. My kids were brought up with my folks in the store, and now my grandkids stay with me and at the store. So, so that's amazing. You know, being a mother was one of the highlights. I mean, it was the most wonderful thing in my life. And I was, in 5 years, I think I had 4 kids, right? But
Good Catholics. A good rhythm.
But each one brought such a blessing to our lives. People would say, you know, after my first one, are you going to love the second one the same? And I look at them like, yes. I go, there's just more love in your life with each one. And maybe a couple extra headaches, but there's more good than not. And yes, there's challenges in raising kids. And we lived in a community that I think kind of kept them grounded a lot too, because everybody knew them. Everybody knew who you were. Everybody, you know. So it is a good place to raise kids. And 5 years ago, I lost my daughter in a tragic accident. And of course, that shattered our lives, changed us forever. And it's very sad and hurtful, but the joy she brought us was just amazing and will never be forgotten. And so we've had to learn. We're like in a different life right now. And I'm glad we're in our community. I always felt when she passed away, the community came around us. It was like we were in the middle of a big heart, and everybody helped take care of us, and still a lot of people are still coming in and being with us or checking with us. Unfortunately, I have a lot of friends who are going through the same thing, so we kind of support each other. We stand there and support each other. But my kids were just a blessing. My grandkids, oh my God, they're just the cutest little things, and they never do anything wrong. And then as life goes on, my son got married, and Valerie's my daughter. She's my daughter-in-law, and she brings, and we have two grandkids through them. And Javier, my youngest, he's studying right now to be a nurse, but he's a radiology tech, and he works at St. Christus. In fact, I think this week was his last week. So he has 2 kids also. And then my daughter Enriqueta had moved in with us about 3 years before she passed away. So her son and her were living with us. So he's been with us quite a bit too. But he's 14 now. He goes to school in Bernalillo with his dad. His dad's a teacher there, and he's a football player. His dad's a football coach. So, like I said, he visits us a lot. He made his confirmation here through our church and stuff. But, so there's blessings. There are blessings. You know, there's heartache, and that smothers you most of the time. But you step back and you're thankful for the blessings and you're thankful for the community. And I'm thankful for all the years I had my daughter. She was 37, so that's who I am.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Young lady.
How do you move on from that? I'm Kristie. I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Denver. So city life was a lot different than it is out here. It was a really big culture shock. But my mom's family's from Costilla. So that's how I ended up out here. My mom came out here and then I followed her. So like I said, I've been out here 8 years. Motherhood for me didn't start out like traditionally. My oldest son, I adopted him when I was 19. He was 2. He's autistic, so that was a big journey all in its own. School was rough, stuff like that. So that was a huge journey. He grew up with me pretty much. We grew up together. I was young when I got him, so then I have my oldest, my stepson. He was 20. He also passed away in an accident. It happened over here on Cabresto, so that does change your life forever. It doesn't matter if it's your stepson, your real son. It doesn't matter. Losing a child is one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life. And then I have my 6-year-old. Everybody knows him. He lights up your world. Like, he's so sweet and he's just so smiley and so like energetic and full of love all the time. So he definitely reminds me why being a mother is so amazing. And then I also have a 6-month-old, almost 6 months. So I know what it's like. And all these emotions come up because, the postpartum thing is real. You go through depression kind of a little bit, so you got to deal with that as a mom too, and you got to push through it and be strong. And it's all worth it in the end. I mean, it's amazing to have kids. Being a mother is the best thing. I was an addict for years. I drank alcohol, and my 2 older kids pushed me to go to rehab. So I went to rehab, and I've been sober 1 year and 8 months now. So I could raise my youngest son not in that situation. He's not a part of that situation. I broke that cycle. And that's what being a mother is too, breaking that cycle and really being there for your kids and showing them that there's a better life and they can do better. So that's my story. Sorry.
Wow.
It's hard to speak.
Just everything works.
Yeah, it worked out perfect. It's been awesome.
So now we got another one that moved to Cuesta that walked in with a horrible look on her face, like. So, Victoria, why don't you tell us I'm sorry, Valerie. I'm tired, I'm old. Mira, Valerie. Valerie, why don't you tell your story?
Okay, my name is Valerie Vigil. I am married to Armando Vigil. Cynthia is my mother-in-law. We have 2 kids. I have a 13-year-old, and now I'm scared because I'm right at that cusp, and she's, I go and hide in the mornings when she wakes up. And then I have a 6-year-old also. And then in December, my husband and I, unfortunately we had a miscarriage. Oh. And so I think, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I definitely think that it's not really talked about a lot. And so, so I still consider that another child of mine. I was not born in Cuesta. I've been here for 11 years now. Armando and I have been together 10 years, and we just celebrated our 7-year wedding anniversary on Monday.
Congratulations.
It was very hard raising him as well. No, but we're very blessed. I currently work at the Village of Cuesta, and it's just really something I feel like isn't talked about a lot too is like being a working mom. That is hard. I've been blessed to be in the position that I am right now, to be able to work in the same town as my kids. And Cynthia's right. They go to the coffee shop all the time, and so they get to, they know pretty much everyone here in this room because they get to speak to everybody and they get to hang out and be part of the community. My daughter, she plays in all the sports, and so we're constantly going. I'm either at the gym or at work or in my car. And so Emmanuel's now at the age where he can also play sports. And so, yeah, it's really, it's such a turnaround in life when you can be there for your kids and just, you know, it's really, it's odd for me to see, like, when I played, like when I was a cheerleader and now I see my daughter as a cheerleader, it's very, like, such a mind thing to me. Like, it's really cool to see them and, you know, you do everything for them, you know, you bend over backwards for them and you do literally everything that they ask. And Cynthia's right, they do no wrong in her eyes. She helps them, she helps them. And yeah, but it's a blessing to just see them grow. And you know, we're really we do a lot of different things for the community. My husband and I, we coach basketball for first grade and we coach soccer for first grade. And so we get to experience those things with, you know, with our kids, and we like to be present in their lives. And family is a big, you know, it's a big part of our lives. I lost my parents both by the time I was 20 years old. And so unfortunately they don't have the grandparents on my side, but Cynthia and Manders have been, I mean, irreplaceable in life. I actually call Cynthia my mom, and so I'm sure people find that weird when Armando and I are together, but I call them mom and dad, and that's just who they are to me. And you know, they've been such a support to Armando and I to be able to raise good kids. And you know, and we do have really good kids. You know, they work at the farm, they're at the farmer's market, they play sports. And I think that's, to me, to Armando and I, that's like our biggest thing, is like we just want to help raise kids who give back to the world. Personally, I think the world is a little bit sad right now, and so to be able to put a human back in the world to do something good is you know, what we want to do. And when Armando and I are no longer here, we want to make sure that they can make a difference in their own lives and this world. So
very good, Victoria. All right, let's take a break and let's shift people. To get the other mothers up here. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to start this whole thing again, and I think what we'll do is we're going to start with the Queen again. And I have to say this, that Claire asked me, we need somebody from Costilla or Amalia, and I thought of Chris and Rodney, who came and did their show, the music show. And I says, well, I'll call Chris to get his mama. And that was yesterday. And Chris was in Albuquerque.
He's always there.
But his mama decided, yes, I can do this, so we start with you.
And just because Chris, no, because all of you guys, I know most of you. I don't really know you like really personally, but I know you guys anyway. Anyway, I'm from Costilla, like he said. My name is Henrietta Arellano. First of all, what do I start with?
Do you really walk 4 miles a day?
I sure do. And I thought I was late today because I didn't. I'm not going to make my 4. But yes, I do. Anyway, I was married at 19 years old. I graduated from Cuesta High School in the year 1971. And I got married. And I lost my husband when he was 34 years old. I was 35. We did get married very young. He was like 18, I was 19. But we raised three, kind of only two, but I had three of them. Because when my daughter was born, she was 4 years old. That's when he passed away. Anyway, I have been a mother and a father for very many years. And like that girl said about the teenager, I had a hard time with my daughter. Very hard. I had a good son that is Chris Arellano. Him and my son were in Nashville, right? He took her to a school in Nashville, and she went to a Baptist school, which she became a great daughter. She is my jam. Chris tells me, "That's your favorite, Mom." Well, she's not my favorite. Rodney and Chris, I love them all the same. It was hard because my daughter, like I said, she was 4 years old. It was hard. Chris was 12, going on 13. He was hard, really hard at that time, because he was in the stage of, am I grown up or am I a baby, or what am I? But they were very much in music with their father. Even I was with her father. I used to sing in my husband's band, and I have sang with my kids too. And anyway, they became more and more into the music. They went to Nashville. And then I just raised them the best I could. My mother was a very good mother. My father was a hard worker way back years. My father's name was Joe Manzanares. He used to carry coal from Walsenburg. He used to bring watermelons and sell them all over. He used to sell it. He was never home with us, really, because he was always working. He was such a hard worker that my daddy had a short life of 57 years old because he worked so hard. Then my mother, she was a good mother. She had, I don't know what year my mom got the post office in Costilla, and she used to do the post office at her house. I remember I was being a young girl going to school. My mother worked the post office there in Costilla at her home. So then I got out of school. I had my kids, and she told me one day they want somebody to go to Amalia, New Mexico, to run the post office there. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, that was one of my blessings because I didn't have a husband no more to help me with his kids. Chris was like in kindergarten or Head Start, and I took him with me to Amalia because they had a Head Start program there, and he was raised there at that school or whatever, and they were raised with my mother mostly. And then I took the post office. My mom retired. I don't remember years. My mom retired, and I became the postmaster in Costilla. I served there 31 years. Then I gave myself to my daughter and my mom. She had 2 kids. She was in Denver. I can't, it's too expensive to take 2 kids to a daycare. So Henrietta, as a mother that I love my children with all my heart, I went there to help her with her kids. Chris has 1 daughter, Rochelle, that's my daughter. She has 2, a son and a daughter. And then Chris raised another daughter with his first wife. And so all in all, I have 4 granddaughters and 1 grandson, which is a very good man. He's my favorite. My only one. My only grandson. But yes, I took care of of Rochelle's daughter when she was just born, and she's also, well, they're all my pride and joy. But having one grandson is like some different, you know. Anyway, I did all that, and then my kids, they're just good human beings. They love music. They play everywhere. They had a dance last night here at Costilla. People from Taos follow them everywhere they go. And they are so good to me. They're always telling me that I raised a good family and good kids, and I'm proud of myself for that, because I thought I didn't. I felt like I didn't do good. When I first lost my husband, I was in a stage where I can't even explain to you, because I was home. They come to me and they tell me, your husband got killed in a automobile accident. And there I was, oh gosh, whatever. So I went through a lot. Not that I want nobody to feel sorry for me. It's been a lot of years. But all I want to say is that I'm very proud of my children. And I'm proud that I'm a good mother, even though sometimes I felt like I wasn't. That's it.
I think we should move on that way, simply because we have the chief of the library here. So.
I just want to say before we move on, you're right, those Ariano brothers are amazing.
Yes.
We follow them as much as we can. Yes.
Yeah, they're in Guadalupita today. He said, we gotta go to Mora, and then he says, no, we're going to Guadalupita. I'm like, oh, my friend is buried there, my friend Terry Pacheco. I said, she's buried in Guadalupita. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'm Sharon Nicholson, and indeed I'm the library director. I have been in Cuesta 21 years now. Doesn't seem like more than 2 at all. So it's a great place to be, and it's wonderful to hear everybody's stories. Mine, I guess, is a little different. I was born in Wichita, Kansas, and I have 3 children. I have 2 boys and a girl, my daughter Linda. Some of you know her as Sharon's daughter. She does complain about that a lot. She says, really, I am Linda, you know. I have 2 grandchildren and 5 great-grandchildren and countless great-grandnieces and nephews. I don't know how that happens, but man, they're multiplying by rabbits. It's got to be being in Kansas. I don't know. They're still there.
Nothing else to do.
Oh, they find plenty to do. They find plenty to do. We traveled a lot. No, not traveled a lot. We moved a lot when my kids were small. So we kind of became this little cohesive unit. My kids were their own best friends, which is sometimes good and sometimes not so good. I'm glad they had the opportunity to see different parts of the United States. One son now lives in Rhode Island, and the other one lives near San Luis Obispo, California. I don't see them much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wish I had them here with me. My daughter's here with me, obviously. I don't know what the best and worst parts of being a mother are. I think the worst part is having that feeling that you're not doing an adequate job, you know. But then I look at them now, and everybody is successful in what they do, and that's what I always emphasize: be the best that you can at what you want to do. And one son's a musician, and I couldn't be prouder of him for that. He's also retired Navy and an engineer, so busy people. The other son restores cars, and I mean restores them from nuts, bolts, paint, the works. He just finished a VW camper. I'd sure like to get my hands on that VW camper. That is so cool. The hardest part of being a mother is just the feeling of wanting to do it right, you know, feeling that you've done all you can in the situation.
You never had rebellious teenagers?
Well, being a rebellious person myself, it wasn't that hard. They'll get over it, is what I kept telling myself. They'll get over it. This too shall pass. They're going to grow up someday in spite of me. I raised them to be very independent, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because now one's on the East Coast and one's on the West Coast, you know, and I don't get to talk with them and see them as much as I'd like.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some fun times. We had some really great times. I've been a den mother. You know, I've done all those things that parents got to do. And it's great. I'm glad I have 3 children, and I'm, you know, no regrets.
Very good, very nice. So, since she did not want to come here, my son and I had to threaten her that she couldn't sing on Sunday if she didn't come. She was in church, you see.
That's not true.
It's true, but you don't remember. You were in chaos.
Oh, okay. So I just say who I am and my kids. Okay. I'm Irene Martinez. I have 3 children, Elizabeth, Michelle, and Christopher. My daughter Elizabeth is in Portland, Oregon. She just got married at the end of December and moved to Portland. And my daughter Michelle just got married. I don't remember the date, but it was, I think, last month. They got married, and then, well, my daughter got married and then told us she got married, the oldest.
That was Michelle.
And then, no, Elizabeth. And then Michelle told us they were getting married, and then we had lunch with them. So, and then, so they're both older. My son is just turned 13. And I know a lot of people say that boys are easier than girls, but right now I'm really feeling like boys are harder than girls. But I don't know. Maybe when he's older, he won't be as hard. But it's just, he's not. I don't know. But yeah, I love being a mom. I wish they would stay babies. I miss them being babies for sure. So we definitely need to see if one of them will have a kid soon, because we need a baby in the family, don't we, Mom? One of the things that I know one of the moms talked about their child having autism. My oldest got diabetes, type 1 diabetes, when she was 4. And so I was very grateful that it wasn't something worse, because diabetes is very manageable and she can live a fairly normal life. Like once she was on her own, she could manage it on her own, and she can live a fairly normal life. Some people with diseases can't. It's much harder. So I was very grateful, and it was a very interesting experience to deal with that as she grew up and learning all of the different parts of it. One of the things I wanted to mention was when we were growing up, traveling with my mom, we would go visit my aunt in Colorado, and my mom would always tell us stories about her family as we traveled up. So spending time with my mom going to Colorado was very fun. And then, of course, going and spending time with family. I don't know what else to talk about.
Talk a little bit about your music. You know.
Well,
You sing pretty, very pretty.
Thanks. I started with music in school. Well, no, I take that back. I started playing piano. My dad started taking us to piano lessons when I was little. And so both me and my sister Anna went to piano lessons as we grew up in middle school. And then in high school, I was in band. I played the flute and the saxophone. And then I was in mariachi, and I played violin. Now we have a Thursday night music jam session that where I've learned to play the guitar better. And I've been doing the choir for a very long time at church. We started with Bill and Kimber McDonald, and then when they stopped coming, they started taking their kids, I think, to Taos for church. So Michael Rael's son and I started the choir, me and him and Marcy, and now Michael's helping us. So we do the choir. And I don't know, I love music. I love singing. I probably need some lessons to be better, but I love doing it. So.
Excuse me, did you have lessons with Pat Shirley for the piano?
Yes, Pat Shirley was my piano teacher.
My daughter did.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Pat Shirley taught everybody.
Me too.
Yeah, she was here for years and years, and the only student she ever told get out was me. Because I would not look at the music. I was looking at my face. Get the hell out of here. But it was mutual. Now, it's interesting. I went back into playing with my son, and because I just needed a little bit of change. But it's interesting how her and my son are always bickering at each other. No, it starts here. No, it starts there. It goes this way. No. And I'm just sitting back going, whatever. I have no idea what the heck they're talking about, but they do a damn good job at it. All right. So next, why don't we come to this side and you tell us all about you and what's going on with your life?
Well, first I just want to say I feel really honored to be in this room with all these beautiful women and the men that are here to support and listen to these stories as well, because I don't know very much for sure. I'm not one of those people that thinks I know everything, but I do know that we all had a mother. And so that really makes us part of a group of human beings where I feel more connected to you than I feel like you're strangers, because I'm kind of the new kid on the block. Like, I'm just amazed at the sense of connection and the community that's here and the depth of family connection and all that. I'm a little bit more like our librarian person here, who I moved my kids all over the place, and yeah. On the drive over, I turned to my husband Martin and said, "Oh, I forgot to think about what I was going to talk about." But then I realized, you know, my struggle after I had my own children was, where do I focus? I'm a mom. Oh yeah, but I still have a mom, you know, and that's part of kind of a bigger story. But what I guess I really want to talk about is, I didn't grow up feeling like, wow, I really want to be a mom. You know, I didn't grow up feeling that way. I was very much of a wild child. And I just thought, I can't even keep my plants alive. Probably not a good idea for me to have kids. And then, surprise, I got pregnant. I'm not going to tell the story because you all know how that happens. But
really? That sitting on that toilet too long, you know?
Exactly. And so, you know, I was very much of a connect to spirit at that point in my life. I still am. And I sat with this pregnancy and I thought, is this the right thing for me? And I became very clear that this being that had come into my being was going to be one of my most potent teachers. And when Leon was born in 1979, my whole life changed. I was blissed out. And I don't think I've quite ever recovered from that. I still feel so much love for that person who waited until he was 44 with his wife to have his first. I have 2 other children as well, but the connection now with my son, who certainly went through all those teenage things and then sort of drifted away into college land and all that and living overseas, we're so close now. And that 3.5-year-old granddaughter, you're right, she is the smartest, cutest, most amazing being that's ever been born. So I completely relate to the grandma thing, which has been amazing. My youngest daughter went the other way. She was 17 when she got pregnant and dropped out of high school and was like, what? A child of mine going that way? How could this be? So then I did blame myself. What did I do wrong? Where was I? What happened here? And her life has been really hard because of that decision. She has 3 children. She also has a granddaughter now. We seem to be on the heavy side of females in terms of, and I don't know. I would think the girls are harder raising them for so many reasons, but we can talk later. Yeah, Michaela was just 2 months shy of 18, and she became pregnant again. We don't need to go into that story because we know how that happens, but it wasn't a happy moment for me.
57 Chevy, the backseat.
Yeah. Well, her first, yeah. I don't know. Only to say that she struggles with horrific health issues, and so that's where I feel like when I look back at how hard her life has been and how hard it still is, I think, you know, what did I do? What could I have done better? You know, so there's that. And my middle daughter is very much on her own path. Someone early on, I think it was your mom that said that you were there to kind of guide them, but let go and see where they would go. And that was also similar for me. I felt like my children came to me as teachers for me as much as we were going to raise each other. We're in so many ways, and she's an amazing being, singer, songwriter, active social activist, and also struggles with health issues. So I didn't do anything wrong with her, though. It was my relationship with my mom was super complicated. And it wasn't until she died in October of 2019 that the portal of her death was the portal to really loving her in a very deep way. And yeah, I think I've said enough, but being a mom and being a daughter is a complicated thing, and as is life. So, you know, the joys and the heartache.
Right
What's
on.
your name?
My name is Kat Gilliam. Thank you.
Hi.
My husband and I live in Lama, and we have been building an off-grid house for the last 3 years. I also love the Cuesta community. I got into it through Claire. We connected over at Yoga Sala Yoga, and I also help people share their stories and collect stories. And when we connected, we were like, oh, we should work together. So we've done some really fun projects together. And yeah, so that's why some of you look really familiar to me, is because I've been at these kinds of situations with Claire. Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you. So let's move over to the other side of the railroad track there.
Thank you. My name is Janie Corinne. I walked in, I saw something months ago about this meeting. I didn't know what it was about, and decided to come. So Claire said, would you like to tell your motherhood story? I was like, oh. So I haven't prepared anything, but what it occurs to me to talk about is that in my family, there are women who had a lot of difficulty having a child, and women who had no difficulty at all having a child. And so I'm kind of at the cross section of that. I'm an adoptee, so my birth mother had no problem getting pregnant and wasn't able, I mean, I now know the story, but I didn't know it growing up. She wasn't able to keep me and had to choose adoption. Their choices were too limited for her. My mother had a lot of trouble getting pregnant and couldn't, and adopted one child before me, my sister, and then my parents adopted me. So as I was growing up, it was very, very important to my mother that I become a mother. And I was like, whoa, like I've got things to do in the world, and I was like, she gave me all my niece's baby clothes when I was like 20-something and said, here, you take these, I can't keep them anymore. So I had to take the baby clothes, but I wasn't anywhere close to having a baby. So, but I did get married right out of college. And so when I was almost 30, I thought, maybe I shouldn't wait too much longer, and then threw away the birth control, and a couple of weeks later I was pregnant. So I was one of the easy ones to have a baby. And then I remember talking to my daughter as she was growing up and saying, you know, you have a long line of women who biologically had no trouble getting pregnant. Remember that. Because I had no trouble. Your paternal grandmother didn't have any trouble either, had 4 kids. And anyway, there was a long, you know, my birth mother had no trouble. And she was like, yeah. And then it turned out that she was on the other end of the spectrum and had a lot of trouble conceiving and carrying a pregnancy, and eventually wasn't able to, but is now the mother of a baby who I'm so completely enamored of, and her husband is Chinese, and so I have this Chinese grandson who's about 1.5 years old, and his sister from China just joined the family, just arrived from China about 5 weeks ago, so now I have a granddaughter who's 13. So it's it's a long and complicated journey that people have gone through, other than myself, who was like, oh, let's have a baby, boop, let's have one. So I mean, it wasn't that simple, but it was amazing, and it's been an amazing journey for me. And I think that the minute that I was handed Rachel when she was born, I looked at her and I said, oh, it's you. And I knew we had this connection that was much deeper and older than I had imagined. And so one of the joys of my life now is that I am so welcome in my daughter and her husband's home. And they now she's lived everywhere around the world, including Beijing and lots of places, but now she lives just north of Boulder, or north of Denver, east of Boulder, and I can drive there. And I'm welcome. When I say I'm coming, they go, oh, great! And I just can't quite fathom that they really love having me there. And the longer I stay, the happier they are. So it's amazing, and I, of course, love these grandchildren, and balancing that between my life and my work and my community activism that is important to me. But I think that my mother was right. I really did need to have a baby, and I know it makes her happy, even though she, has long since left before Rachel had her baby. But I know that she's, from the other side, my parents are delighted to be great grandparents, and I'm happy that they, in spirit, that they're for all of us. Thank you.
Well, that was good. You want to come up here and talk a little bit?
Glenda.
You love to talk. Anyway.
Well, I want to say something. You asked Chris to tell me. I was just there, and it's like, and all morning I walked, and I'm like, what am I going to say? And I know I went from this to that and whatever, but I want to say one thing. I helped Rodney take care of his daughter. His daughter. And then, the cycle turned. Now I'm helping Chris and Rodney take care of Rodney's granddaughter. And I'm very proud of I have 3 great-granddaughters. I'm very proud of my great-granddaughter that is going to school here in Cuesta. Her name is Mia Ramos.
Is she about to graduate?
Friday she'll be going to UNM. She's a junior this year. Friday she'll be going to graduate at UNM in Taos for CNA, I'm sorry, for a CNA. Then she'll come back to school. When she graduates next year, she'll have her associates.
What's the CNA, nursing?
Yes, and she's being really hard at all kinds of sports. She has gone to every sport there is. And like Valerie said, me and Chris, and mostly me, I have been there in every game, close or here or far. I have gone with her, and she is my pride and joy, like all my grandkids. But her now, my great granddaughter, is special, and I want to say that I'm very proud of her because she has had a bad childhood too, just like her mother did. So the cycle went on. But Henrietta was there too. Here I am putting myself. Was there to pick up the pieces.
Right on. That's important. All right, well.
I can
Yeah,
I can reflect a little bit. I
was going to ask.
Share. I think that it's very emotional to talk about motherhood, because it's the hardest and the most important and the best thing I've ever done. It's absolutely at the core of like who I am, and my biggest priority in life are my kids. And they are now also the reason that I do anything else in the world. It's why I'm doing this work. It's why I want to have kids' art shows. It's why I want Earth Day events to happen, because I want to help in small ways make a strong community for them, in the ways that work with the strengths that I have. So they're the starting point, and then I also feel really like they're my priority in my life. But I also feel like every single kid everywhere in the world is also my priority also, because I feel like as a mother, I have an understanding of how for each one of those kids, they have the deepest love for that child. So kids' well-being in this community and all over the world is really important to me. I think that's what changed for me when I became a mom, is I realized how important protecting our kids and making a good world for our kids is. So that's the biggest thing. On like a more personal level, I really love seeing the difference between my two kids. Like the minute either one of them was born, they were so different in such like fascinating ways. One just like barely had her toe on earth and could like barely even find her way, and the other just like clawed her way up to nurse and like was like, I got this, Mom, and so like every kid is so unique, and we have that honor as parents, and especially moms, to like witness their uniqueness and individuality. And the other thing I wanted to share, which there's been vulnerable things that people have shared, but I was really surprised at when I was giving birth, how crazy I got. Like I have a really strong agreement with my husband that we never, ever call each other bad names, but he wasn't moving fast enough to help me out, and I said, get your bleep in here and let me hold on to you. So like, I think that's like, we come into our power as women in one way when we're mothers and when we're giving birth, and there was no way I could stop that. That was just like the energy was coming through me, and he wasn't moving fast enough, so I had to tell him.
Poor Chris.
Yeah, poor Chris, But so I think that's something that unifies all of us in different ways, that we've gone through all kinds of, however our kids came to us, through adoption, through birth, that all of these different experiences are really powerful. And like motherhood is at the core of perpetuating life and our species, and I feel like strangely it's not acknowledged enough. And so like in this tiny little way, having an event like this feels important and powerful, because you know, if you're not there for your granddaughter in this new way, if all of us weren't there, you know, just keeping it going, so we have strong roles to play in the world. And so I'm grateful to each of you and to all of our family members and you know, partners and families that are supporting us in doing that, because it's not an easy job. It's the best, it's the most rewarding, and it's not an easy job because there's no manual, and every kid needs a different one. So
Excuse me, what did you say when you had your first child?
what did I say?
Where's Chris?
You know what I said?
Well-
Well, Rodney was my first child. I said, never again.
Yeah.
Then I had 2 more. So it wasn't that bad.
Right. Yeah. There's some amnesia.
Chris was the hardest because he was breached. So.
Oh man. Yeah.
I think it's amazing the red thread that runs through all the stories, and there's so much of each of your stories, even though we've come from so many different places. I remember the feeling of being pregnant and walking toward another pregnant woman and just us nodding like, yeah, we know. You know?
We got this.
Yeah, or like giving birth and the sounds that come out of a woman when she's giving birth, and you know, the power is that comes through us is crazy, and just the sense of wanting to make this world a better world for these kids that are coming along, and the times that we're living in, but the belief in the goodness of humanity still persisting, and that we all have the same needs, no matter where we're coming from, no matter where we're born, you know, and we just want to raise good, compassionate, kind, good at what they do, successful human beings, and it sounds like y'all are doing a great job. Yeah, glad to be here.
Michael, what was the most blessed memory of your mom?
Depends. Well,
Come on.
my mom was just shy, a couple months shy of 99. But one of the stories I like the best is that she would see people. There was 3 little girls that she always talked to in English. And my daughter said those were her little guardian angels. But she would talk to them in this beautiful English. Well, girls, you know, you're going to have to call your parents. If not, or I'm going to have to call the police to get you. You know, that, you know, fancy. And then there was 2 Mexican women. And she would speak to them in Mexicano. Ustedes que están haciendo aquí, mujeres bárbaras, ya tienen que ir de aquí, you know, and I would just sit there going. But that's for the last literally 5 years of her life that she was getting dementia. Those 5 women were constantly part of her life. And it was amazing that, you know, ¿cómo que no la ves? How do you mean you don't see her? They're right there. Look. Mom, that's the television. Turn that damn thing off and I'll show you. And then another story is, she always said, this is not my house. This is not my house. I want to go back to my house. And one day we were sitting in the kitchen and the church is right here. And we were arguing back and forth, and I go, Mom, this is your house. This is my house. I go, yeah, mira, I thought there's a church right there. It's been there forever, you know, since the house was built. She looks over, this is my house. Yeah, well, get the hell out of here then. And I go, Mom, it's 2:30. Ralph will be here at 5:30. I'll leave then. Oh, okay. And that ended everything. So, and now, before going any further, this young lady has something to present to all of you mothers for being here. And I want to thank everybody for being here, because this is really, I thought it was really enjoyable. I really enjoyed this. It was wonderful. Thank you. Love you all.
go when she was younger to Costilla. And we used to, my
Oh,
husband
yeah.
would play the guitar and she would sing.
Oh,
and
yeah, she'd
we
love
would
to
all
sing.
sing.
She'd love to sing.
I remember her and Pauline
Yeah,
Ortega.
yeah.
We used to always go, my husband used to play the guitar.
Yeah.
And he used to come up and
What a life.
yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for, it was nice, it was better than what I expected. I have a big mouth, I talk a lot.
Oh, you did good. That's what it's about. We have to do that. We have to talk to people.
I know I always do it, but my son says that I carry my husband's, what did he say?
His
He made a song and he said, like my husband was like something that I don't get over, like something, like a, I don't know how to say it anyway.
Yeah, well.
I don't know, because that's my life, or that was my life. But now my life is my children, and my grandchildren. My great granddaughter, she's in Taos now at the school.
You have listened to the stories. Vayan y digan a todos que vengan a escuchar las historias de nuestro país.
Perfect.